All right, the proportioning valve is in with the rear brake lines. These are the rear brake lines. Those are tightened and ready to go. As you can see, only one bolt fits, but these lines hold it up pretty good in that one little nut. So now it's time to start with the Valex Racing ABS fleet kit. I've had this for quite a while. As you can see, the package has seen a little bit of moisture, but anyways, this is pretty cool. It says, has some little directions here. These two lines are for the master cylinder to the proportioning valve. The 90 degree end goes to the brake master cylinder. The straight end goes to the proportioning valve. So these are for the proportioning valve, and then these two lines are for the front brakes, one for the driver's side, one for the passenger side. So I'm going to go ahead and install these. As you can see, they're obviously stainless steel braided, so I will be able to move them wherever I want, and there is no cutting, flaring, bending, or any of that. Let's get started. I think I'm going to start with the master cylinder ones first. Before I connect everything to the master cylinder, or the two brake lines to the master cylinder to the proportioning valve, I need to bleed this brake master cylinder. As you know, I completely bled out all the fluid out of the master cylinder, out of all the lines, because I changed my rubber lines to stainless steel braided brake lines as well. So all my lines except the rear lines are going to be stainless steel braided lines. So but anyways, my point is this guy is empty, and I need to bench bleed this before I connect anything to it. So this is just held on by a couple of 12mm nuts. So I'm gonna go ahead and disconnect this and take this out and bleed it before I connect anything to it, because if you don't bleed your master cylinder, man, you are gonna have a hard time. You're gonna have to do a lot of bleeding to get all the air out of that guy. So it's just easier to actually take this out, bench bleed it yourself. I removed the brake lines from this, obviously, and then I also found this seal right here. This seal is shot. You can see it's breaking into pieces and all that. So I've had to make a Honda order. This is the part number right here for that new seal, so I'm going to be replacing that. But I think before I actually bench bleed this master cylinder, I'm going to go ahead and install the front brake lines. All right, so on this proportioning valve, this 40/40 proportioning valve, this is the front right, and then the one next to it is the booster front, and then this is the front left, and then this is the booster rear. So those are the connections, and then these are the rear brake lines. This top one goes to the right rear, and then the bottom one goes to the left rear. So those are where all these connections go. I was going to install the master cylinder first, but then I thought about it. If I install the master cylinder, like I said, that has to be bled. Well, I don't want any brake fluid in the system just yet until I'm, ready for it to be fully installed and all that. So I'm gonna go ahead and install the two front brake lines first with this bag right here, and then I'm going to bench bleed the master cylinder, and then we can hook up the master cylinder to the brake lines. All right, guys, I finally got the front brake lines mounted. Here is my Goodrich stainless steel brake lines, and then right here it connects to the Valex Racing kit. This is all tightened down. It goes from there, and then it snakes around here underneath this brake booster, behind these brake lines and fuel lines, and it connects to the proportioning valve right here. That's the driver's side. Let me show you the passenger side. It connects right up here to the proportioning valve, and then I snaked it behind these other brake lines down this way, and I actually zip tied it to my raw wire engine harness, and then it goes into the wheel well just below in there. And you can see this one is connected as well right there. Now, the reason why I had to kind of snake this along and everything, there is some slack, definitely some slack in this kit. I understand why they did that, because you want to have more than less, right? Well, that makes it a little bit difficult because you kind of have to snake it along, here, and then these lines, even though they're stainless steel braided lines, they are, bendable, but they still have some resistance to them. So it's really, like, for example, it's really hard to connect these right here. Like, you really have to bend this line, and then of course you don't want to press too hard trying to get this threaded in, because of course you don't want to, strip your brake lines. I guess it works. Well, we'll see if it works. I hope it doesn't leak because I can see at this point, it's really hard to pick up on camera, but right here, there's just a little bit of bending going on at this junction right there. So I'm really gonna have to watch that whenever I bleed the brakes and use them. There better not be any leaks, let's just say that. And I really don't want too much slack, or else it will be resting on my heater hose here that was filled with coolant, and I really don't want that because that's gonna heat up the brake fluid even more. Those two are installed, everything is tightened down. Now I can go ahead and put the Valex Racing Kit hoses onto these two fittings right here onto the prop valve, and then they go to the master cylinder. As you can see, my master cylinder is out right now. I did get a bleeder kit, so I have my two fittings right there, one there and then one there. So I am going to bench bleed this master cylinder, and then I am going to connect the rest of the Valex Racing Kit to the prop valve, then we can get it on the master cylinder. Alright guys, I have the Valex Racing ABS Delete Kit fully hooked up. Now I have something to say. I may insert a clip here that shows that these are connected with the 90-degree angle ends, but I actually had to switch them around. In the instructions that come with the kit, it says to put the 90-degree ends on the master cylinder. Well, that looked terrible, and the lines went all the way around here, and it didn't flow well at all. So I switched it to where all of the 90-degree bends go to this 40/40 prop valve, and then that makes the lines so much more, compact, but behind here, and then it snakes around back here and then connects to the master cylinder here. And then same on this. This just goes straight down there. I kind of snaked it below there and up to the 40/40 prop valve. Whereas if this was a 90-degree, I couldn't have it facing down because there was minimal clearance. There's actually still minimal clearance. There's no clearance here at all. This is resting on top of the strut tower. There is no clearance, not even a millimeter. So that's kind of sad right there. But anyways, this was at a 90-degree angle pointing up, and then the brake hose went all the way over here. So obviously the intake manifold is going to be here, and I don't want the brake lines resting on these coolant hoses, so that was not favorable at all to have the lines going there. So just a heads up, basically don't do what the instructions say, which is to put the 90-degree angle bends on the master cylinder, do the straight ends on the master cylinder. Neither way is good. The 90-degree angle ends on the 40/40 prop valve works so much better. I guess the Valex Racing Kit gets the job done, but I think it could be made a little bit better, maybe on some other master cylinders. This is a GSR, OEM GSR master cylinder, so maybe on other models it doesn't come this close to the strut tower, but I mean, maybe they should make a GSR specific, ABS delete kit, because this definitely is going to rub on here, so I'm not very thrilled about that. Anyways, because I had to switch the lines around, obviously that lets some air in the system, so I will have to bleed this again, which is unfortunate because that's going to cost me a whole nother bottle of brake fluid. But anyways, other than that, I basically have it all installed. I do have to bleed it again, like I said, and then I will check for leaks, and then it should be good to go. So that is the ABS Delete Valex Racing Kit installed. There it is right there. I hope you guys learned something about it. If you have any questions, feel free to leave it in a comment below. Thanks so much for watching, and there is plenty more to come on this Integra build. See you in the next one.